Everybody, ayan na po. Magandang tanghali po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to another edition of Karista Live TV. And joining us today is our favorite na accountant po, si Bert Parungao. Thank you so much po, Kuya Bert, for joining us today.
Nice to be here again.
Yes, absolutely. So, Kuya Bert, last time that you were here, we talked about taxes. We're going to talk about taxes a little bit later on. But I think yung first portion po ng ating show today, marami pong interesado kung paano magtayo ng business dito po sa Canada. Of course, this is just a bird's eye view, a summary, just to give you a hint of what's involved. And then when you're ready to do it, you have to go dive deep with Kuya Bert later on. So we're going to start with that. And then kung meron po kayong questions, can you please make sure you type it in the chat box and we will answer questions later on after matapos yung presentation ni Kuya Bert. Okie dokie, shall we begin?
Okay.
Okay, so, right. Just 1 second here. Bear with us 1 second. Yes, can you see it now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Okay. Business startup. This will be the basic and also an overview on how to start a business. Okay. Ang agenda po natin, part 1 will be how to start a business, of course, type of businesses, mga tax requirement, government reporting, bookkeeping, and administration. And then when we go to part 2, we'll open it up kasi nga April 30 is the deadline for filing your tax return. And if you have any more question, we'll handle it. We'll see. I can help you answer some of the questions that you want to ask. Thank you. Ngayon, okay, at first, bakit gustong mga tao, bakit ba gusto ng mga tao magkaroon ng business, right? Number 1, actually, is they want to have freedom. Number 2, earning potential, maganda. Personal satisfaction, and also your motivation para ma-prove nila yung sarili nila. And also, it's an investment. And also a passion. So that's probably what you do, open up a business. But first, I would like to define what a business is, di ba? For income tax purposes, a business is an activity that you intend to carry on for profit, and there's an evidence to support that intention. A business includes, a profession, a trade, a manufacturer, an undertaking of any kind, and an adventure or concern in the nature of trade. Yung bandang huli po, medyo mahirap yon, but it's basically about contracts. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now, question is, how do you start a business? First, number 1, of course, is to come up with a good business idea. Diba? A product or a service that is on demand. Ima-market research nyo yan. Hindi kayo basta-basta magbubukas ng business without any market research. So if you decided to go on business, right, you decide whether to start your own business, to buy an existing one, or buy a franchise. Diba? Kung bumili kayo ng, if you start your own business, right, make sure na yung binuksan nyo, you have a know-how and knowledge and an experience to do that own business. Hindi basta nagbukas kayo dahil gusto nyo. Right? Kailangan may knowledge kayo. Number 1, letter B, you can also buy an existing one. Ngayon, pag bumili kayo ng existing business, you want to make sure na kumpleto yung financial information. Ask for a balance sheet and income statement para makita nyo kung yung business na binibili nyo kumikita o hindi. Mahalaga yun. Kasi pag hindi, you will have a problem. Ngayon, you can also buy a franchise. But buying a franchise costs a lot of money. Every month, magbabayad kayo ng 6 to 8% of your total gross sale as a royalty. And also, you have to contribute between 3 and 4% para sa advertising or promotion na marketing ng company na yon. Okay, so once you decided to have your own business, buy or buy a franchise, then you start writing a business plan. A business plan is the process of setting objectives, ano po? And devising action to achieve your goals. Ang business plan will serve as an invaluable positive purpose for your new venture. Okay? Flip tayo po. Next page. Ngayon, number 4, you choose the form of business that you're going to start. I will discuss that sa bandang huli. And then number 5, decide on the name of your business. Mahalaga yan. You have to select 3 names. Okay? 3 names. I'll tell you why later. Ngayon, you also need a logo and a slogan. McDonald's is one of the best slogan, you know. McDonald's serve billions around the world. Yun ang ano ng McDonald's. And also yung ano nila, yung art nila, yung logo nila napakaganda. So everybody noticed that immediately. Okay? Now, once you decide to have a business name, you have to register your business. Okay? Bago mo ma-register yan, magsasubmit ka muna ng name approval sa Provincial Corporate Registry. Okay? Before you can register. Kaya yung 3 name na sinabi ko sa inyo, isasubmit nyo yon. Kung ano yung unang maa-aprobahan, 1, 2, 3 yun eh. Yung unang na-aprobahan at wala pa nakakuha ng pangalan, they will look at number 2. Pag na-aprobahan ka sa number 2, then that will be your name. I-re-register mo na kagad yun. And of course, name approval request form is available online. Yun. www.bc Registry Services. Okay? Pag na-submit na yun, just have to wait pag na-aprobahan yung pangalan nyo. Once your business name is approved, okay, second step, pag na-approve na yung business nyo, you have 56 days to complete the business registration procedure. Pwede nyo yung email sa Victoria, kaya i-email nyo lang. Now, pag na-approve na yung business name nyo at saka yung registration mo, whether you decided to incorporate, then you can get a business license. A business license is needed to operate legally with the municipalities. Okay? Ngayon, pag yung business mo is all over the place, let's say sa Suri yung head office mo, let's say you're a tradesperson, pupunta ka sa Richmond, other places in other municipality, you can get what you call the inter-municipal business license. Okay, this is aside from your license in the address where your business is located. Okay? Pagkatapos niyan, may license ka na, you're ready to go, get business numbers sa CRA. Pag ang expected income mo is more than 30,000, kailangan mo ng GST number. Okay? Pag nag-apply ka sa CRA, yan ang ibibigay sa'yo. Kung incorporated ka ha, maski hindi ka incorporated, kailangan mo itong GST. Ito GST. Payroll remittance, maski hindi ka incorporated, kailangan mo yan. Corporate income tax, kung incorporated ka lang. Nagkakatalo ito dito sa tinatawag na program identifier. Ito. Pag GST RT, same number, kaya lang magkakatalo sa identifier. RT, para sa GST yan. Payroll deduction, make sure RP. Pag nag-file ka ng corporate tax, gagamitin mo yung RT. Eh kung import-export ka, MC, wala. Pero itong 3 na to, this is where you get mag-iingat kayo sa 3 ito dahil dito, yung iba, GST, pero pinadadala nila sa payroll. Problematic. Ang hirap kunin yung refund na yon. Kaya ang gagawin mo, you have just to don't pay this month and pay double in GST or vice versa. So you gotta be careful on the kind of forms you are using if you are remitting to CRA. Okay? Saan ito susunod? Ngayon, sabi ko nga, if your income is over 30,000, you need a GST registration. 10,000, you need a PST. Yung import tax credit for GST, ang ibig sabihin yan, it means these are the GST that you pay if you buy your inventory, your supplies, diba? O yung mga subcontractor na binabayaran nyo. That is called the input tax credit. You will see that pag nag-file kayo ng GST, makikita nyo yan. Kasi yan, i-deduct nyo sa GST na kinokolekta nyo sa total sales nyo. So, the total sales minus the input tax credit is your money to send to CRA, or if it's negative, may refund kayo. Okay? Kung mas malaki yung gastos nyo. Okay? And also, very, very important sa business is to have a business insurance. You have to protect your business by buying the kind of insurance you need for your property, liability, disability, and business interruption. Mahalaga po lahat yan kasi mahirap po mag-business na wala insurance. And also, to get a good start, di ba? Kailangan naka-ready na kayo. You need a proper bookkeeping. So let's flip it. Yeah, nakalagay dyan. No? Pag maganda ang record keeping nyo, at the end, every year end, whatever, if you have a calendar year or a fiscal year, every year end, you have to file taxes kasi mahalaga na organize kayo. This is one thing I like to emphasize, to get a separate bank account for your business. Mahalaga po yan. Hindi dapat mag-mimix ang personal at business transaction ninyo. Kung may trabaho pa kayo, huwag niyong ilalagay yung pera ninyo sa business. Okay, keep your business and personal expenses separate. That's what I mean. And the rest, of course, get a good bookkeeper or an accountant. Next, please.
Okay.
Okay. Aside from that, meron pa tayong mga other considerations. So, I will summarize what I've just said. Pag nakaisip na kayo ng business, you have to register it. Name search muna, pa-register mo yung pangalan, register the business, and then you can open a bank account and then buy an insurance and everything. But these 6 items is very important also sa business ninyo. Financing, di ba? Sa umpisa pa lang, kumuha na kayo ng line of credit. Okay? Pa-approve na kayo bago kayo. Kasi pag nag-business na kayo, it's harder to get a line of credit. Di ba? Lalo na kung yung business ang mag-a-apply. I think everybody knows, and every business people knows that. It's going to be a different criteria. Number 2, of course, yung location, mahalaga yan. When you start a business, you have to spend more time searching and studying the location, site selection tawag doon. Kasi pag nagkamali ka ng pili ng lugar, mahirap yun. It's hard. And also check with the municipalities or city hall if that area you're buying, kung major construction doon. Kung merong gagawing may gigibayin, mga building. Kasi the effect of that, all the roads, they will close it. Everything, the alley and everything is closed. So what will happen to your business? It will be a problem. So dito, research din ang kailangan dito. Lease and rent. If you are signing up a lease, you have to carefully study the clauses on the lease. Kasi kung minsan, a lease contract is one of the trickiest contract. you might need a lawyer to interpret to you some of the clauses on the lease. Okay? Future development proposal, yun nga yung sinasabi ko, if your business na you purchase or you open, if there is a future development proposal there, that will be it will be problematic. Sarado ang mga kalsada, laging maalikabok, it's always noisy, and I don't think customer parking will be difficult, and I don't think customer will want to come to a place like that. Home-based business, of course, that's an option. You can also, if you're in if your business requires an office, you can consider that. But for the meantime, you can use a portion of your house para makatipid muna. And then there's the online business. Yung online business, marami na pong mga kababayan natin ang nag-online business. And I really appreciate this kind of new business opportunity for people, online business. Okay. Now, ito yung sinasabi ko, the type of businesses that you can open. Okay. Sole proprietor. At saka partnership, hindi incorporated yan. Yung sole proprietorship, sarili mo yan eh. You decided what to do with yourself, but you still have to cover yourself with insurance, of course. Very important. It's cheaper, of course. And the only problem about sole proprietorship is personally responsible for all the debts and liabilities. The same as partnership. Okay? Yung partnership, it's also a separate legal entity. Kaya lang, sa partnership, you will be responsible sa limited partners, nakalagay dito, limited ka up to your contribution lang. Okay? Itong limited liability partnership, yan yung mga ginagamit ng mga professionals, mga dentists, doctors, accountants. Pag nakikita nyo yung office ng mga lawyer, let's say Bert Parungao LLP, di ba? Let's say abogado ko. What I'm trying to tell people is limited liability partners. I belong to a limited liability. Sorry, I belong to the limited liability partnership. Ngayong corporation. Corporation naman po, this is a distinct legal entity, separate from the owners and or shareholders. Pag nag-decide kayo na magpag-incorporate, your corporation have its own life. Hindi mo pwedeng hugutin yung pera ron. Pwede, but it will become taxable in your hand. Okay?
Okay.
Next. Ito yung tax requirement. Pag sole proprietor ka, you prepare your tax return. Your income minus your expenses. Pag nag-income ka o nag-loss ka, dito mo i-report Form 2125, Statement of Business and Professional Activities. Line 13,500 sa tax return ninyo. Okay? Pag partnership naman, it does not pay income tax on its operating result and that does not file an annual income tax return. Wala pong form ang partnership. Instead, kung apat kayong partner, for example, nag-gain kayo ng 10,000, yun ang i-report nyo sa line 12,200 sa T1 return nyo. And also you can add your automobile expenses aside from the, you can deduct your automobile expenses sa net profit na na-share mo sa partnership. Now, if it's a loss, then you show it as a partnership loss, and then you increase that loss by adding your automobile expenses if you have some. Okay? Yeah, ito yung sinasabi ko. A partnership that carries on a business in Canada has to file a Form T5013. And then whatever income na meron kayo dyan, divided by 4 or 5 partners, yun yung i-report ninyo sa tax return nyo. Okay. Other deduction that you can include in your partnership income or loss is your automobile expenses. Okay. Now, corporation, of course. Yeah, everyone have to file taxes. Corporation now, when it is due 6 months after your year end, meaning January to December 31st, or that's what you call calendar year. Pag fiscal year naman, any month in the year, let's say March 1st to February 28. July 1st to June 30. Yun yung tinatawag na fiscal period. Okay? And again, you have to file a T2 return. Yan, ito. Ito yung file na itatax mo sa kung may corporation ka is a T2 return. Okay, next please. Okay, government reporting. Ano-ano mga kailangan natin pag nag-business kayo? Sa provincial government, you have to remit provincial sales tax. Okay? And also, Workers' Compensation Board, work safe. Every year yan, you have to get a WCB number and merong calculation yan. Yung total ng payroll mo in a year times or in a quarter times a certain percentage that the WCB is going to allot you, kung ano yung percentage ng business mo. This is to protect kung merong kang mga worker na nasaktan. Okay? Of course, your duty sa federal government is to file the GST, either monthly, quarterly, or yearly. Okay? Tax return.
Oh, like sorry.
Tax return, ganun din. You have to file that on time. Baka magkabaon-baon sa utang pag hindi ka nag-file. But if you have a loss, it's easier to file a tax return if you have a loss. You can just use the T2 short, they call it. Instead na yung normal na napakahabang corporate tax return sa mga kumikita, you use the T2 short. Pakikita mo lang yung return mo, yung income, tsaka balance sheet mo, tsaka yung dalawang schedule lang na hinihingi, that's about it. Ngayon, payroll remittance, kung magbabayad kayo ng mga employee, napakahalaga po yan, monthly yan. Tsaka at the end of the year, you have to prepare a T4 for the employees and also a T4 summary. Yung summary, T4 summary, is the summary for all the T4 na ginagawa na naka-breakdown doon kung magkano ang income tax na nadidak, kung magkano ang dinidak na contribution na CPP at saka EI, and also the employer's contribution. Ganyan yung pag nakakakuha kayo ng mga T4 sa company ninyo, kung may trabaho tayo, hindi lang yun yung nakikita. At the end of the year, sinasummarize nila yun, sinasubmit sa CRA, and it's called the T4 summary. Okay? Yeah, well, before I go to part 2, I want to add more about yung bookkeeping. Diba? Tingnan ko oras, 101. Okay. Yung bookkeeping naman, you have to trust to organize your data. You have to trust some technology, no? Katulad ng mga accounting software para mapadali ang summarization ng mga transaction nyo in the year. There's two popular one, QuickBooks tsaka Sage, Business Cloud Accounting. Pag lumalaki na yung business nyo, we always recommend as an accountant to switch into yung QuickBooks or any accounting software. Or you can do it yourself. Make sure you learn how to use the spreadsheet, kasi spreadsheet is the easiest way. Yung Excel, you can put all your income and all your expenses, summarize it. Give it to your accountant. And hello?
Hi. We're
Okay,
here.
nawala.
You're still here. I can still hear you, Kuya.
I don't see any sige. All right, and ano po ba? Kung gumagamit kayo ng software, it's easier to gather data and prepare financial statement, especially the balance sheet and the income statement. Okay? Ngayon, may mga interesado dyan sa business nyo kumisan pag lumalaki na. It's called the stakeholders ang tawag doon, like your customer. The customers, they are very interested on the kind of product that you sell, the quality and the value of the product. Yung mga employees, they are interested whether the company is stable enough, and they want to know the safety if they work in that office. Of course, the investors who are interested in the financial returns nung pag mag-i-invest sila sa'yo. The suppliers, they're interested to know the stability of your company, di ba? Kasi baka mamaya hindi sila mabayaran, di ba? And then the community is interested in your business for safety, for health, and also for economic development. And the government, of course, they want your payroll taxes and also the reporting that you have to submit every year. And ano pa? Funders. Funders and banks, siyempre, they are very interested to know what's going on with your business for financing purposes. And sa administration naman, after organizing your business, you have to do some policy and procedures. Ilalagay mo sa manual yan para pag nagpatakbo ka na ng business, you have rules for your business. Mahalaga yun. Kaya, based on what I've just told you, that is how to open a business from beginning until such time na you do a financial report para po sa gobyerno. Start and then end up with a financial report. Okay? So, last word for having a business. Sa amin po sa PICPA, we have this rule. Kaya, no matter how good your idea, di ba, and business nyo, we always tell our clients, to remember hire, H-I-R-E. It doesn't mean you have to hire employees. Hire for us in PICPA stands for your honesty, integrity, reputation, and ethics. If you don't have it, don't open a business. You're bound to fail. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you so much po. Ang dami pong natutunan ng ating mga viewers right now. And
sorry, it went so fast.
Yes. I'm going to share the highlights of what I learned from you today. But before that, meron po tayong question. Can we share the question? Thank you for BC Pinoy. Question po. Meron po bang tax advantage sa business if going location ng head office is Philippines and going branch office and location sa Canada, or vice versa, or make it separate entity na lang? Very good question po.
There is always an advantage if you do it in the Philippines. For example, I have a clients who have a business here, right? But most of the businesses is through the internet, di ba? Yung mga tao niya, they are the one who is doing it in the Philippines, right? Why? Because it's cheap labor, right? Maski bayaran mo sila ng malaki ron, i-convert mo yon, mura pa rin, right? But there will be tax consequences. We have to clear that to CRA kung anong klaseng reporting ang kailangan nila. Diba? You still have to file taxes here as a corporation. The problem is, how about the salary that you're paying the Philippines? Will it be in a form of salary? Hindi pwede dahil may mga deduction yun, di ba? Or a subcontract. Yun lang. Salary kasi, dididagan mo ng EI, CPP yun. So you move that as a subcontract. Pinasa-subcontract mo sa atin yung trabaho. You can clear that with the CRA easily. They'll give you a good answer.
Ayan.
It's
Well,
better to talk to them first para may record. I always tell people, if you talk to them, kumuha ka ng hard copy.
Okay.
Dahil pag binalikan ka, kasi ibang tao na naman ang magre-review ng tax mo eh. Hindi ba? Pag ibang tao yun, babalikan ka eh, magtatanong uli. But if you have the paper saying, this is what you guys told me originally, may laban. But that's a good question, yeah.
Okay. I have a question too. Pagdating po sa pagpili ng pangalan ng company or anong business, meron ka bang tips dyan when thinking of a name of the company?
Mas maganda kung yung pangalan eh associated with the product or the service, di ba? Pag ABC, pag ang nilagay mo ABC, something like that, nagbebenta ka nito, anong malay nila kung ano yung ABC? Di ba? But if you identify it, di ba, malalaman nila na yung business mo. Ano?
Yeah.
You have to specify if you are a plumber or a renovator or katulad mo, pag hindi mo nilagyan ng mortgage, Karista Mortgage, Karista Enterprise, hindi nila alam na yung business mo mortgage. How will I know? Baka akala ko beauty salon yung lugar mo.
Not bad.
Well, Karista might be
Yes.
connotate something on me, right?
Yeah.
Or, it's something like that. I always tell them, ano bang business mo? If I ask them, what's your business? Tapos sasabihin, bakit? At, binigyan mo ako ng card. At that card alone, I cannot even identify what kind of business you have.
Yes.
XYZ Enterprise Limited. Bakit hindi mo gawin XYZ Insurance Limited kung nagbebenta ka ng insurance? Diba? Just my opinion.
Okay, yeah, that's a very, yeah.
You have to communicate.
Yes.
Ika nga.
That's a very good tip. You need to make sure what it is, what service or product you have sa company name. And the other thing is that what I learned is be very mindful na yung business name na pipiliin nyo is something that you will still like 30 years from now, 40 in case.
Or even a year after.
Yes. Because sometimes, baka yung business name na pinipili mo is flavor mo lang, but it's not long-lasting. I've done that mistake. I picked a name na ang haba-haba, and it's more of a short-term vision. Like, I didn't really think it through. So, and then we have a question here. Thank you po, Ate Lodi. Is there any extra requirement for a food service or restaurant business? Is there any extra requirements?
Ang alam ko dyan, if you are the owner, kailangan meron kang food permit, food license, yung may training kayo. I used to run a coffee shop 35 years ago. And I know my wife always sent me to a health training.
Yes.
Mahalaga yun. Pag wala kayo, magagalitan kayo na inspector, food inspector, or maybe they will shut you down. Dahil yung mga walang training sa food handling. Maski nga yung mag-serve ka lang ng liquor or wine, you need a license. Serve it right, ang tawag.
Lahat po may license, may dito, lahat may clarification and everything. So I hope that answers that question, Lodi. So thank you so much for that. Another question that I have is, if I'm setting up a business, Kuya, I know there's a lot of Filipinos na gusto nila, they set it up on their own. Ano yung advantage, disadvantage? You set it up on your own, or you go to a lawyer to do all of that? Kasi I saw ang daming gagawin in order to make it right. Ano po yung tips ninyo? Do they learn it on their own, or hire a lawyer to help them set it up?
Depending kung anong klase yung business mo, no? Kung maliit lang at saka it's not too sensitive, you can do it yourself. Kaya nga, once your name approval, di ba? You can go to next stage by applying sa kanila, di ba? Yung incorporation. Pero if you are dealing with looking after old people, or babysitting, right? Mga sensitive yun eh. I will recommend to go to a lawyer para ma-set up ng tama because kung may nangyari, the lawsuit might be too much for you to handle. That's what I mean. Based on the sensitivity and the size ng business mo, if you are applying for a corporate para maayos ng gusto kasi kailangan maganda rin. Although you will be registered, no problem. Kasi kailangan lang naman ng pag nag-register ka na ron, pag-approve na, incorporated then it means that you can now apply for permits and everything.
Oh, and then Kuya, is there a threshold? Because I know a lot of people say, oh, I want to set up a business. Di ba merong threshold na in terms of revenue that it makes sense na corporation unless you hit that dollar, it's still better na sole
That
proprietor.
threshold applies sa mga corporation. Kung less than 1 million, pwede kang mag-file ng income tax manually. Okay?
No, I mean, incorporate, bawa ang kinikita. Kasi I know some people, ang kinikita lang nila, 50,000 example, mag-set ka ba ng company? Isn't it that it only makes sense at a certain revenue bago mag... Yeah.
Wala naman ang corporation is set up para makatipid ka ng taxes, number one. But it could create a double taxation, yung sinasabi ko. Kasi pag yung company, nagbayad ng tax, let's say nag-net income ng 50,000, di ba? Magbabayad ng corporation, mas mababa nga, around 15%, di ba? Pero yung pera na yan nahuhugutin mo sa company, taxable sa kamay mo yun eh. Pero may trick doon, yun sinasabi ko sa yung dividends. You withdraw it as a dividends. Kung meron kang kita. If your return earnings is in a positive position. Otherwise, kung loss ka 5 years, walang dividend declaration yun.
Okay.
Diba?
Okay.
Pwede kang mag-payroll. Katulad ng mga sinet up, alam mo naman mga kababayan natin, meron ka kung kilala, 20 yung nililinisan eh. They have people and they gross at least 270,000 a year. Kinumbert ko siya sa corporation para bayaran na lang ang sarili nila rather than paying corporation, di ba? Taking out the money rather than paying yung yung self-employment, hindi ka pwedeng mag-self-employment pag $250,000 ang kita mo.
Yeah.
wala kang ligtas doon.
Okay.
You will be taxed to death. Di ba yung pinakita ko last week, yung marginal tax?
Yeah, mataas.
Look where $250,000 taxable income go. 53%, 50% almost. If you convert that into a corporation, then we'll talk, right? You talk to your accountant. Kasi pag 200,000 na income mo, mabigat yung pag nilagay mo sa self-employment.
Okay.
Pag
There you go.
in-incorporate mo, then you have find ways to take out the money by paying salary to yourself.
Okay.
Diba? Magdididak ka rin ng CPP. Walang EI kasi ikaw may-ari nun.
Okay.
Magdididak ka ng CPP. Kaya para meron ka namang contribution sa CPP mo para pag nag-60 years old ka, pwede ka nang mag-pension.
Okay.
Kung marami ka na-contribute. Diba?
Right. Okay.
That is the idea of the corporation. It takes long-term planning too. Hindi lang basta-basta gusto mong mag-corporate isang araw, 2 buwan, 3 months. No. It doesn't work that way. You have to be planned for a long term.
Okay. And then, okay, so thank you po. We have another question. Thank you, BC Pinoy. If the business name is already incorporated or being used outside Canada, pwede pa rin po bang gamiting business name dito sa Canada?
Pag sinerch mo, nag-apply ka, inaprubahan ka sa Victoria, then you can use it.
There you go.
There you
Yes.
go.
Okay. Kasi yun pong search na yun para lang dito sa atin. Kung ano man yung nangyayari sa labas.
Yeah.
Then.
Once you are approved by the name registry, you can use it.
There you go. Good question po, BC Pinoy. Another
Good
question. Brenda Robosa, thank you. Kailangan po bang mag-apply sa WorkSafe BC kung wala ka namang empleyado?
Good question. Yourself, if you're sarili mo, empleyado mo eh. Right? Kung ikaw ang binabayaran mo lang, yung sarili mo, di maliit lang yung babayaran mong premium. But you're protecting yourself. My point, yeah.
Okay.
Kung ikaw lang empleyado mo, it's up to you. Pero pag nasaktan ka, dahil yeah. But you can inquire with the worksheet.
There you go. Good question po. So thank you,
Good
Brenda.
question, yeah.
Next question from Ninette Espinosa. Thank you, Ninette. Withdrawing as dividends, not taxable as personal income to the incorporation.
Withdrawing as dividends, not taxable as personal income.
To the incorporators.
Sa corporation, taxable yun. Kasi yung dividends kasi, kinukuha sa retained earnings yun, di ba? Bayad na ang tax nun. Okay? Kaya nagdi-declare ka ng dividends para bayaran ka to avoid double taxation. Kasi bayad na yung bayad na yung profit na yon na napunta na sa retained earnings. Whatever you make, kung anong profit ang tinubo mo in 2019, sa beginning ng 2020, yung tubo na yon will now be incorporated sa retained earnings. Kaya kung yung retained earnings mo malaki ang pera ron, di ba? Positive balance, you can take out dividends. Declaration lang yung board of directors, lang yun. Gagawa lang kayo ng board resolution.
Yeah. So that's a very good question and good explanation, Kuya Bert. So sa lahat po ng medyo hindi familiar, so the formula is revenue, minus expenses. Meron kang profit. Minus tax, tax government. Meron ka nga yung ending, di ba? So, ibig sabihin,
ending balance,
ending balance, retained earnings na sinasabi ni Kuya Bert. Yung retained earnings na yun, nabawasan na po kasi yung tax. Remember, yung profit minus tax, meron na yun. So, pag kinuha niyo po yung retained earnings, bawa, ako yung may-ari, kinuha ko yung as dividends for me, nagbayad na po ng tax. So, when it comes to my hands, when nag-file po ako ng tax return, I pay lesser tax technically kasi yung kumpanya ho nagbayad na po ng tax
yung
for that
dividends,
money.
That's right. Kasi may exemption yung dividend, called dividend tax credit. I-report mo pa rin, but the dividend tax credit will kick in.
There you go. So that's that. Kaya po ganun yung kaya po lesser. Ang natataksan sa inyo. So ang other thing that also that I value from yung tip ni Kuya Bert was in terms of halimbawa business, you're an employee, gusto mo mag-set up ng company, whatever. Sabi ni Kuya Bert, you apply for a line of credit first. So, a lot of times po, if you're applying for a mortgage, let's say naging self-employed ka, hindi po kayo ma-approve sa mortgage or sa loan when you're just starting your business. Halimbawa, iniwanan mo yung dati mo na nag-umpisa ka. Because you need to establish yung business mo for 2 years. The bank wants to see that you're earning good income for at least 2 years bago nila magamit yung income na yun. Kaya, isa yung sinasabi ni Kuya Bert that it's the best time to ask for money is when you don't need it yet. Kasi po, pag kailangan nyo na po yung money when you're starting your business, medyo mahirapan po tayo sa financing. And also, kung kayo po ay business people, the banks will ask for yung full T1 general nyo, yung tax return nyo. They want to see ano po yung mga deductions na nangyayari po doon. Okay, so they want to see the entire T1 general, and banks will use the net income, hindi po yung gross income. Kung kayo po ay empleyado, kung ano yung gross income nyo, yun ang gagamitin. Kung kayo po ay self-employed, yung net income po ang tinitignan ng bangko. And then if meron po kayong kumpanya, sometimes they'll ask for a company financial statement just to make sure na yung enough na income na kinukuha niya sa company is you can keep taking that income. So, ayan po yung mga tips na nakikita, na gusto ko lang ibigay kung kayo po ay self-employed.
Meron pa ako isang tip.
Yes po.
If you're planning to open a business, at nag-list kayo ng sasakyan, pangalan mo yung sasakyan sa company.
Yes!
Kasi pag pinangalan mo pangalan mo yon, at umutang ka kay Karista, humingi ka ng tulog sa Karista, yung car payments mo kasama sa calculation ng ano, 'di ba? Mababawasan yung mauutang mo. Kasi nakasama sa personal mo yung utang mo, 'di ba? Pero pag yung nakapangalan sa corporation, yung corporation na nagbabayad. And then you
Very good.
decided, "Uy,
Yeah.
I am making more money in my business. I will buy a third rental property, right?" And then I go see Bernadette. Then when they review it, nagbabayad ka ng automobile lease $700, imbis na yung corporation, madi-discredit sa iyo, di ba? Nagiging personal liability mo yun. Pag umutang ka ng 200,000, mahihirapan ka.
Correct.
Bibigyan ka siguro 80,000 lang. Do you get what I mean?
Yes, that's a very good tip. Tama po kayo, Kuya Bert. Ang sasabihin po kasi ng ibang self-employed, my company is paying for it. Kahit ipakita ko pa po yung statement na company it ends up paying, sa credit report nyo, lalabas ang may utang
Pangalan mo.
kayo.
Yeah.
So you're still liable for that. If the company cannot pay it for whatever reason, it's still a debt, a liability, a responsibility in your part. So tama po si Kuya Bert. If you have a company and ine-expense nyo sa company po ninyo, make sure that you tell the car company na ilagay sa pangalan ng kumpanya at hindi dapat lumabas sa personal name niyo. We've done that before. We said, hindi ako uutang sa'yo if it's going to show up on my personal name. I even asked for something in writing na while hindi ito lalabas sa personal name, it's just gonna show up in the company name. So that's a very good tip po.
Good tip.
Any other tip po, Kuya, before we sign off?
Marami pero di ko maisip ngayon. It will come later.
Okay, so deadlines po ng tax return, Kuya Bert.
April 30. Kaya get ready to file your tax return. April 30 ang deadline. So all your deduction, you have to remember, deduction and a credit is two different things. Okay? Yung deduction, RRSP, yung mga nakalagay doon, yung tinuro ko sa inyo last time. Ang credit naman, yung iba nagko-complain dahil ang laki ng donation nila, bakit daw magbabayad pa sila? Ang laki raw ng medical bills. Kasi yung medical bills tsaka yung donation, hindi deductible yun. It is a credit. 15% lang ibibigay sa'yo sa total nun. Meron pang deductible yung medical Kaya maski na bigyan ka ng malaki, really, doesn't make much. Kasi credit, hindi outright deductible sa sa taxable income, sa net income mo yun. Remember that. Deduction and credit is two different things sa tax returns natin.
Ayan. Okay. So, yun siya. We've put here yung contact information ni Kuya Bert. If you have any tax questions, incorporation question, kung ano man yung meron kayong tanong, just reach out to him po. And you can email po si Kuya Bert. Thank you, Kuya Bert, for joining us today. It's always a pleasure having you, for being so generous of your time. Alam ko it's a busy tax period for you and you still pinaunlakan niyo po kami kasi alam ko yung passion niyo makatulong sa edukasyon ng more and more Pilipino. So salamat po, Kuya Bert. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And next week, same time and same channel, we're going to talk about kung ano po yung mga success stories, tips ng ating mga first-time home buyer. Ano yung mga dapat gawin, hindi dapat gawin, should and should not do para sa ating mga first-time home buyer. Thank you everyone for joining us and we'll see you next week. Bye!